Hey guys, I am on my evening walk and I'm just gonna take you with me. Actually, I usually take a jog, but I'm gonna slow it down and take a walk and just talk for a second because I am finally out of the house. And I just want to tell you about my experience today and just why it's nearly impossible to have kids these days. It's nearly impossible, even in the United States, to be a mom and have kids and protect them is what I'm really talking about. So here goes. I took my kids to a new library today. Now, given I live in the Sacramento area, but not downtown Sacramento, not like the big city of Sacramento, just one of the, the outskirt suburbs or whatever they want to call them. So, one of the things we do is take the kids to the library, just one of the day-to-day activities when it's really hot outside, because it's cool in the library, and look, they have toys and books that you can read. And so anyway, I took them to a new one today so that it would be a change of scene, different activities. And then we're in the library. From outside of the library you can see, so to leave anyway, so I said, okay, Amadeus, we're gonna go outside, but we need to check out our books. And 2-year-olds don't understand logic. He was just screaming and trying to get out the door, the exit door. So he was already frantically screaming. I had to check the books out, so I'm like holding him, and everybody's like looking at me like feeling sorry for me. And I'm saying all that to get to this. I'm just saying, like, if you've had a 2-year-old, you know that, like, if they want to do something, you might as well just yield. Like, let them do what they want to do, or else your life is going to be miserable. Like, if I said, no, we're not going to the park, and I put him in the car, I'm the one that was going to suffer hearing him cry bloody murder for 20 minutes, So it's like, yes, the 2-year-old wins because the hell he's going to give me if I don't do what he wants is going to be more punishment for me. So even though, like, I didn't really want to go to this park because I already knew that there's usually some transients around there, some bums around there, I was like, it didn't look like, I didn't see anyone from where I was. So I was like, okay, we're going to go to the park. Fine, we'll go down the slide a couple times. So I walk from the library after checking out the books, put them in the car, and we're headed toward this little park area. And then first thing I saw was on the table, there's a couple burn marks, and that means that, just like I thought, there's a homeless camp really in the woods area, not too far. You could see them from where we were. So they do drugs on the table. That's what the burns are from, doing drugs. And so it was like, can't touch that table. Then we got to the park area, and my kids are walking across the little bridge, and I see a woman's purse on the ground, and it has its contents kind of spewing about, like a package of kids' Band-Aids, which really made me sad to see, because what this means is she was robbed. This woman, her purse was pilfered through. They just threw the stuff they didn't care about and then just threw it right underneath the kids' bridge. So somebody got robbed either here, or they left their purse in the car in the library parking lot, and it was stolen out of the car and pilfered through. So it's just sad to see. And here's the evidence right in front of my kids. And then I look up, and there was a bum right there that I hadn't seen. But he was like super close to the park, sitting at this table. Looked intoxicated. I don't know what he's on. I don't know what spirits are in him, because I don't know what life he's, what you do drugs, you're giving access to the enemy. A lot of these mental health cases that the world likes to talk about, that, yeah, they're mentally unhealthy because they're full of demons, because they're doing drugs and they're opening themselves up to be possessed by Satan. Okay, so yeah, they're mentally ill because it's a spiritual thing, or they've welcomed it in. So anyway, here's this guy really close to me. I don't know what he's gonna try to do. I have my purse with me too, and I'm like, shoot, I should have left my wallet. No, I shouldn't have left it in the car. There's other, but like, anyway, I'm just praying to Jesus, Lord, protect us. because I didn't see him there from where I was earlier, and I don't know if I'm putting myself in harm's way now. Here's a woman with 2 young kids and I have a purse. Am I going to be the next victim? Was this person his victim? The lady whose purse was strewn about and pilfered through, you know? And then the other thing I worry about is just contact, like touching slides and stuff, because sometimes people do drugs on the actual kids' equipment stuff. Like, it sounds crazy, but they do. Like, I've seen holes and burn marks on kids' equipment. You see it sometimes in public restrooms. The pull down tray for babies to change their diapers sometimes has like black sticky residue on it. I don't know if you know, but that's not poop. That's drugs. That's like mixing heroin. So sometimes people use the weirdest surfaces and the weirdest stuff for drugs. So like, this park is one of their hangouts. So I'm like praying to Jesus, like, don't let them touch anything, because most drugs are now fentanyl. Like, it's the cheapest, and it alters your mind really quickly, the smallest amount. And so it's literally the most pervasive everywhere, and it's super deadly. Like, you could touch it and die. I'm serious. Like, that's why police officers now, they all have Narcan on them everywhere they go, not just for other people on the street that might be overdosing, but for themselves, because they might touch it without intent and they might be exposed to it and die. So that's how powerful fentanyl is, and it's in everything. I mean, I've been reading so many stories about kids that they tried to buy like what they thought was Ritalin, or they tried to buy a Xanax pill. Like, they thought it was one of these other pills that would like alter their mind a little bit, maybe chill them out, but they were lied to, and it was laced with fentanyl, and they died first time they tried it, you know? So that's how prevalent fentanyl is. They're putting it and sneaking it into everything. It's like the #1 killer. So anyway, we're on this park, and I'm like thinking like, oh shoot, I hope there's like I hope they're not gonna get fentanyl contact high. Like, I'm never coming to this park again. But it just reminds me of like how unsafe this world is, especially for kids. Like, I can't even go to a public park. My 2-year-old sees it. He wants to go. He has no idea how dangerous it is, because he's unaware of dangers in the world. And he's kicking and screaming. He was literally screaming in the library because he thought I was saying no to the park, and I was just saying wait. So he gets his way, we go to the park, and then every second I'm like, oh my gosh, what is he touching? Where's the transient? I got eyes on him. I got eyes on my exit. I need to see everything they touch. There's a purse on the ground. Someone got robbed. Like, it's just really hard for me. And I'm not even living in fear constantly, but I am a protective mom, and that's a strength. I'm just a protective person. I like to see danger ahead. I like to perceive where it's coming from. I like to have an exit plan. I like to be protected to the best of my ability, but it's getting hard these days. Like I said, I can't even take my kids to a park without fear of, like, I don't want to get taken advantage of. I don't want to get robbed. I don't want to accidentally touch drugs. Like, there are so many. It's just terrible. It's just terrible everywhere. Even the library closest to me, there's a bunch of transients there, and they sit up right outside the library right when you pass by, and they're smoking whatever, cigarettes, drugs, whatever. And sometimes they say inappropriate things, and it's like, man, you can't have kids. It's so hard to even have kids and protect them, because the dangers are everywhere in this world. It's just getting to a point where it's really, really unsafe. And wow, this guy just blew through a stop sign, didn't even stop. And like, people are careless. People in my neighborhood, they drive like they're race car drivers to get home. And there's so many kids that play in the street all the time. We have refugees from Ukraine, like 2 different homes that they have kids, and they just ride their bikes in the street all day, which they should be able to do, but these careless, selfish people just rip on through. And this is what Jesus was talking about when he says in the last days, iniquity is going to abound. The love of many is growing cold. Like, people are so selfish. They don't love other people. They don't love their neighbor as themselves. They're not looking out for the safety of other people. They're looking out for themselves. And so that's why I'm just saying it's like legitimately hard to protect your family nowadays from all the not just that, but also the perversion. I'm talking about physical dangers because it's all around me, but the perversion too, and how much they're indoctrinating kids and like literally forcing it on them, and forcing homosexuality on them as if it's normal, and forcing transgenderism on them. And like, really, it's so insane to me. Like, it's literally insane. Like, the last thing that develops on a person's body is their brain, their frontal lobe, which is the decision-making place. And like, wow, you can't even vote till you're older. You can't even sign up for the military till you hit a certain age, the edge of adulthood. But they're now saying that you're old enough to decide to take hormone blockers and alter your gender when you're a teenager still. Like, that's insane to me. And it's literally, they're not protecting kids. They're forcing evil on kids. They're praising evil. They're praising sin. And they're saying, like, there's tiers of people in privilege, and like, if you're white and if you're straight, you're super privileged. Which is like, no, I'm not privileged for being straight. I'm just following God. I'm just following a model of holiness, because he created man and woman, and he created man and woman in marriage, and that's it, and everything else is wicked. But you know, the world is just trading what's good for what's bad, and perverting what's good. And so I don't want to ramble on forever, but I'm just letting you guys know we're in the final seconds of the end of days. Jesus is coming for us soon. And one way that we can know is that wickedness is just abounding. Like, it is hard every day to take care of kids and feel like I don't want to live in this world anymore. I know the Lord is protecting me, and I know that I have angels everywhere I go, but it's a hard job because I like to do my part too, and I like to not expose ourselves to danger, but there's just so much wickedness everywhere. So the angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him. That's a promise. And it's also a promise that the favor of the Lord is a shield about the righteous. So his favor is a shield if you're living righteously. And I claim those verses, and I know it's true. And the Lord will help us, but I just can't wait to get out of here. This world is not my home. I am not an inhabitant of this world. That's why I'm not going to go through the test, because I am just passing through and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to leave with the bridegroom immediately. We're not here. We're not planting our roots deeply. Our hope is not in the next 5 years, 3 years, 2 months. It's not in the future. Our hope is to escape, because every single day this place grows more wicked. And the lukewarm don't see it, because they want to be here longer. Like, they don't see it because they don't want to see it. And that's like Lot's wife. Like, it was terrible for Lot. It says in the New Testament that righteous Lot was saved because he was vexed in his spirit by all the ungodliness around him. Like, it bothered him. It bothered him in his soul. But we're not told that about his wife. And in fact, she looked back at her house, and she looked back at the city. That tells us that even though it was so filled with the stench of sin and wickedness, it wasn't bad enough for Lot's wife to want to leave. Only it was bad enough for Lot to leave. He hated it. It says that he was perplexed in his spirit. It was a heavy burden to live amongst the ungodly, to see how much they forced their perversion on others. But it wasn't bad enough for Lot's wife to want to leave. And she is a huge picture of the lukewarm church. They just don't want to see how bad it truly is because they want more time. They're willing to overlook the enormity of evil because there's something they have that they still want. They're willing to overlook the massive oppressiveness of perversion on the innocent and on children because they still think better times are ahead. And they still think that there's something that they can still hold on to in this life. So they don't want to leave immediately. They don't want the bridegroom to come. It annoys the heck out of them when we talk about how soon the bridegroom is coming, because they don't want their lives to be interrupted. They don't want to leave immediately. This is their home. They have planted their roots. They have that book they're about to write. They have life to live. They have this home they purchased. They have their children that they want to grow up and they want to see this and that. And the thing is, no, open your eyes to the wickedness. Like, the rapture is not the end of your life. It's going to be the beginning. I'm excited to raise my kids in heaven. Seriously. Jesus, you can interrupt my life here. I do not want to be here anymore. I do not want my roots planted deeply. There is no recognition that I want in this world. I want recognition from Jesus. I want to be ready to go immediately. I don't want money in this world. I don't want comforts in this world. I don't want anything. I don't want titles. I don't want a job. I don't want anything that this world has to offer. It's not worth staying here for. Because anyway, time is up. And these things that the lukewarm church is thinking that they're going to hold on to, their hopes for the future, it's all going to be bashed in 1 second when the rapture happens. Because they weren't watching. They weren't ready. They didn't want to go immediately. They have all these plans for the future, but they're not gonna, sorry, I had to stare somebody down because he like raced through the street and he raced over the speed bump. Had to give him the evil eye. They have all these plans and why they don't want the bridegroom to interrupt them, but they're not gonna get their way because when that trumpet sounds at any moment now, all bets are off. They're in the tribulation, whether they like it or not. The rapture begins the tribulation. It begins the final week of 7 years for the Jewish people, but also the wrath of God on the sinful world. And the lukewarm were not in right relationship with Jesus. And they did not have oil in their lamps. Jesus can't see them. When he comes at the midnight hour, he's taking those with oil. He's taking those he can see. He's taking those who are filled with his spirit and in right relationship with him and loving his return and preparing for his return and looking for the bridegroom and beckoning the bridegroom. And he can't even see the light of the lukewarm because it has gone out. So you guys hang tight because I really believe the rapture is so close now. It could be any moment now. It could be tonight. It could be tomorrow. It's that close. Like, it could be any of these days now. It could be next week. All I know is it's very, very close. And time is up on the fig tree generation timeline. And I believe World War III has already started. It just hasn't gone nuclear yet. But, like, we're already in this. Like, everything is lined up. Everything is stacked up. So, Maranatha, if you guys aren't, I don't know who's watching this or who's going to watch it. But if you're not ready to go with the bridegroom immediately, let this be a wake-up call. Seriously, loosen your grip on the world. Because whether or not you're wanting to go with Jesus immediately and ready to leave everything like Rebecca, a type and shadow of the bride was, he's coming. And if you're not ready, you're going to be left behind. So you need to get with his program. You can't put it out. There's nothing you can do. No hopes and desires and dreams and hopes for the future that you can have that's going to make him change the prophetic time clock. Because it's already written. And it's coming to pass. So I don't want to ramble on too long, but I started out just by saying how hard it is to take care of kids in these days, because wickedness is, the dangers are just everywhere, literally. And I do believe that wickedness, the cup of wickedness is full. Because first a society tolerates sin, and then they begin to engage in that sin. But the next level, the deepest level, is pushing that sin on everyone else, forcing everyone else to engage in it and accept of it. And that's where we're at. And that's how you know the cup of iniquity was full with Sodom and Gomorrah, because they weren't just committing sodomy and living a homosexual lifestyle before on their own. They were forceful with it now. They're coming to rape other people. They want those men that came to visit you, they better engage in it with us. And we're gonna knock down your door if you don't. Because this is how we do it here. You know? Seriously. And so that's how you know God is done. The cup of iniquity is full. Because they're not only engaging in wickedness, but they're forcefully forcing it on other people. And so I believe we're there, guys. I do believe we're there. So listen for the sound of the trumpet, because it is very soon. God bless you. I hope everyone's ready for the Lord's return. Bye.